So moving on. So let's get to Uriah Smith's defense here. That's where we were. Okay. So whatever, and this is published in the Review and Herald, 1866 here. Is that said? Yeah, can't read my glasses. All right. So
CMB,
yes, sir.
CMB. Just before you go into Smith's defense, let's
Mhm.
provide some backdrop why his defense was necessary.
Sure. Go ahead.
You had several Adventist pastors, thinkers, and evangelists who actually had left Adventism at that time.
Hmm.
And the amalgamation issue was one of the main issues they were constantly agitating and pushing to the public as to what makes for false prophets. So, for example, the Canright, Snook, and Birkenkoff, you had several of these respected former SBAs who were pushing this issue out there as proof that she's a false prophet, and who were close associates of her, who were actually saying that it was confided to them, what Ellen White meant about amalgamation, that God did not create the darky, which was a racial slang for black people or the Negro.
Now listen to where he got this from. Someone that left the church that has a problem with Ellen White. I mean, he couldn't lie. He couldn't make anything up. I mean, that's just beyond. You can't even think about something like that happening, right? He came and said, you know something? She told someone else, didn't tell him. She told someone, her husband, that what she meant by the amalgamation is the darky, about the black people. That's what she meant. That's what I heard. Huh? Hearsay? No, no. That's what I heard. Someone told me. Little birdie came told me that she told him that, and he told someone else that. He didn't tell me that. He told someone else, and someone else came in and told me. Yeah.
etc.
Hmm.
And so they were
This is the depth that they have to go to.
saying that, the visions of Ellen White cannot be from God, and how she's racist and how she views black people, etc. And so as a result of this, Uriah Smith was tasked by the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists to actually write the visions of Ellen White defended. And one of the glaring and most prominent issues was amalgamation of man and beast. And so he wrote this treatise defending a variety of things pertaining to why Ellen White is legitimate. And he defended what she said about amalgamation of man and beast is actually correct. So that is the sort of background, brothers and sisters, that eventuated Uriah Smith's defense of Ellen White. Ellen White.
That's right, because we understood what she meant. She meant exactly what she said. It was the amalgamation between man and beast. It's exactly what she meant. She didn't mean anything else. You are the one that's saying that no, the amalgamation it was between man and woman. That's what you're saying. Don't try to play your words. That's exactly what you're saying. She said in between man and beast. And you are trying to say, no, when she said in between man and beast, what she really meant was in between man and woman. That was white and black. Not man and beast. No, let's take it back. What you really want to say, because that doesn't sound right, right? The woman was beast. Yeah. It wasn't man and woman, it was man and beast. Because the woman, she wasn't a human being. She was beast. Who's saying that? Is Ellen White saying that, or is you? You are the one that's calling back woman beast. You're the one that's doing that. That's exactly what Uriah Smith said. No, what she said is what she meant. That's what she said. Exactly what she didn't mean anything else. What she said exactly what she meant. It was man and beast. You're the one that's saying it's something else. Not Ellen White and not Uriah Smith.
White's amalgamation of man and beast.
Well, there you have it, folks. Background information. Okay. Here we go. Back to the slides. Okay. So this is Uriah Smith's defense. And again, it was published in the Review and Herald. And you can see the date at the bottom. And here it says, quote, whatever race of men we may take, Bushmen, Hottentots, Patagonians, or any class of people, however low they may apparently be in the scale of humanity, which we'll talk about that later, their mental capacities are in every instance the basis on which we are to work, and which we determine whether they are subjects of moral government or not. Then what about all this to do over the charge, which is in itself false, that the visions teach that the Negro is not a human being? What does it amount to? It is simply an effort to create prejudice in the minds of the people. unworthy anyone who makes any pretension to being a Christian or even a gentleman. This is Uriah Smith's.
Okay, now listen to what he just wrote. Now, mind you, this is not Ellen White that's writing this. It's Uriah Smith. Now, Uriah Smith is reading what she wrote, and he is determining that he's trying to say now that Bushman, the Hotenots, right, the Patagonians, those people were basically some type of class of people, right? With a lower, well, those people did have lower mental capabilities, right? I mean that's not false. For example, a black man. Let's just try to play it out. How he was saying it, because I don't agree with that, right? I agree with part of it. I don't agree with all of it, because that's not what she said, and it's definitely not what she meant. But some part of it is true. For example, the part that the people have lower brain capacity in the state that they are. For example, a black man that just came out of slavery, could he have gone in and do the type of work that a white man was doing? The answer to that question was no. Why not? Because he was not developed enough to actually do it. Strange things. I have some type of thing to say about this. Strange things happen. If you get someone that all their life worked in the bush, all their life, I mean, those people know how to plant. They know how to plant. I mean, those people are, you said, did they tell you you can do things like this and do the, and you be, wow, this is a science. It's not that the people doesn't have smart brothers and sisters. Whatever they put their mind to do, they can do. But they have to put their mind to it. That's the thing. And this is what he was referring to, as far as I can understand. These people that live out in the bush, they don't have the mental capability that another person that doesn't live out in the bush has. Say, for example, you get someone that live out in the bush and you put them in the city. All right, you go to make it in the city. What's that person going to do? Oh, yeah, I'm going to go in there and see if I can get a corporate job. No. Now, is that person incapable of learning? That's that question is no as well. Now, how likely will he be able to do it? It's a thing. Very, very unlikely. This is what he was trying to say here. I don't think he said that anywhere in the way he should have said it. But this is basically what he was trying to allude here. That these people has a lower mental capability. Why? Because these people doesn't know anything like that. They have never seen it. They have never came into that. They don't care about it. People are content to live out in the bush where they're living. They know how to live out there. If a person from the city go out there, what's going to happen to him? Same thing is going to happen to him that happened to the person that from the bush that go to the city. He's going to die out there. Doesn't know what to do. Doesn't know where to eat. Doesn't know where to find food. What's going to all his knowledge that he has? How would that person? This is a stupid person. How would the bush people see the person that's from the city? And this guy, he doesn't know anything. Same exact thing is going to happen. Now, can he learn? Of course he can learn. Now, this is the question. Would the person from the city learn quicker how to live out in the bush than the person that's from the bush learn how to live in the city? Now, you can very, very clearly see that there's a difference. One is going to take a lot longer to get around. Now, if the guy from the bush come and show the guy from the city, okay, do this and you'll be able to get this food. If you look at this tree and this tree. Now, where you gonna find all the things? If you see it again, you know what to do. Right? It's easier for a person from the city to start to learn how to handle himself in the bush. It's easier. But it's not going to be easier for a person that's in the bush to learn how to handle himself in the city. Yeah, this is the computer. This is, oh my goodness gracious. And what I'm going to do here, it's a lot more complicated. It's not the same thing. But you get that same person, you put him in the city. And then his generation come up. How would his children come up in the city? Let's say he learned how to fend for himself in the city. He has children, right? How would the next generation have the same problem he had? The answer to that question is no. Because that generation born in the society, they're going to learn how to get around. They're trying to make it sound like, oh my goodness, these guys are racist. No, not that they were racist. But I wouldn't say that there wasn't all have some type of racist in them. Because back then, everybody had some type of reservation on this subject. I mean, that ain't no joke. That ain't nothing to try to hide. I ain't trying to hide that. Everybody had some type of reservation. I'm pretty sure if Uriah Smith had a daughter and she's jump up and say, well, you know, Daddy, I think I'm gonna. Who knows? I don't know much about him. Daddy, I want to get married to that black man. He probably might think some kind of way. I wouldn't try to negate that. I don't know. Right? I'm not saying that would have happened either. I'm just saying you can't put it past people. Those people were raised up that way. Things doesn't change overnight, brothers and sisters. It doesn't change overnight. But these are raised betas. Everything they see, oh my goodness, hear what he said there? They didn't even stop to think about the society that these people was living in. Can't make any sense to these people.
Part of his answer anyway to deal with it, right? So Ellen White was right. And if we look at the Bushmen, the Hottentots, and Patagonians, however low they may be, right, we can still work with them because they might have some of Adam's blood that's coming later.
Okay, see what he said there? We can still work with these people. We can still, when he said however low they may be, he could have been referring to just about anything, right? He could be referring to just basically their being capacity. But these people these were bush people basically. People that live out in the bush half naked. I don't know much about these type of people that's mentioned here. But mostly, if you're talking about them, mostly people that was half naked, ran book there in the bush naked and doing all kind of stuff, cannibals and all kind of stuff like that. We can still work with them. They're still human beings. That's basically what he was saying. Now, if he was referring to them to say that they came by amalgamation, I don't agree with that. Because you can't have amalgamation in between the human race, right? Now, if he was saying, I doubt that what he was saying, but if he was trying to say that what Ellen G. White was saying was amalgamation, and these people was basically amalgamation, I don't agree with that, and I doubt that's what he was trying to say, and you can't prove that that's what he was trying to say, because you're reading the same thing I'm reading, and I'm not getting that from it.
Okay. And just so we're clear, when we talk about these people groups, we're talking about the Bushmen or the San people in Southern Africa. Okay. They're actually people, not animals. Okay. Hottentots, aka the Khoikhoi people, who also live very close to the Sans. Right.
Goodness.
We have the Patagonians, aka Tehuelches, right? Tehuelches, that's it. Native South American people group. Okay, so they're darker skinned people, and if you notice, all in common, again, they're darker skinned or black people. Again, shout out to BK Apologist. If you check out his channel,
now look at these people. Look at these people. These people are people that lives out in the wild. That's what he was referring to. These people It's difficult to communicate with these people. It's difficult to show these people things because these people have a different type of society. It's not that they can't learn, a different type of people. And this idea about race, I don't know how in the world this came to be. But you think, okay, these are the Indian race, the human race. We are all human race. Now, we all come from one race. Now, inside that race, we are doing this division. Okay, these are sub races because that's what they would have to be, including us, including the white people. We're all sub races. Because if you have one race, that's the human race, and all people are in that race. And then you have white people, you say, okay, that's a white race. That's a sub race. Right? That's what it is. It's a sub race. Then you have the Chinese, that's another race, that's another sub race. You have black people, that's another sub race. We are all parallel, brothers and sisters. But what they want to teach is that no, we are beneath the white man. That's what these race baiters want us to believe. We are beneath them. And you listen to them speak, brothers and sisters, everything. People that believe that they are on par with someone else would never say race. You only mention race when you think that you are beneath this person. That's when you mention race. You think you're beneath the white man. The white man is keeping me down, and you listen to him. That's exactly what he believes. The white man is keeping me down. So if he's keeping you down, you're beneath him. Whether you want to, I don't believe I'm beneath him. I just act like I'm beneath him. No, if you act like you're beneath him, you're beneath him. How you think is exactly how you act. Not the other way around. How you think. The outcome first from the thinking. Your mentality is what puts you up or down. And that's in anything that you do. It's trying to misconstrue.
We had a stream not long ago talking about Revelation chapter 13 and the beast image that comes out of the earth in Revelation 13. And that's also based in racism. So you can find that there. And I'm not a CRT practitioner. I don't believe in that. I'm not some social justice warrior. I'm a person that's down for truth. So please check that out. And so your worldview can be put up to the test and see what's what. Okay. Great controversy. You know what that says in there. The land was empty. Was the land empty? Find out for yourself. Okay. All right. So some attempt at cleaning this up. Okay. Some attempts at cleaning this up.
What did he first say? I'm sorry. I need to rewind that because something was off there. Let's get back to that. Let's see if we can get that again.
So your worldview can be put up to the test there. You can find that there. And again, they're darker skinned or black people. Again, shout out to BK Apologist. If you check out his channel, we had a stream not long ago talking about Revelation chapter 13 and the beast image that comes out of the earth in Revelation 13. And that's also based in racism. So you can find that there. And I'm not a CRT practitioner.
It's based on racism. You see, everything that comes out of these people.
Practitioner. I don't believe in that. I'm not some social justice warrior. I'm a person that's down for truth. So please check that out. And so your worldview can be put up to the test and see what's what. Okay. Great controversy. You know what that says in there. The land was empty. Was the land empty? Find out for yourself. Okay. All right. So some attempt at cleaning.
I don't even know where he's going there.
This up. Okay. Some attempts at cleaning this up. First, this is from the white estate. What is the general meaning of the word amalgamation? Is it ever used to describe the depraved act of cohabitation of man with beast? Right? No dictionaries we have ever had access to, not even the exhaustive Oxford English Dictionary, indicate that the term has ever been used to describe this act. There is another standard English word that may be properly used to describe such cohabitation. Okay. The primary usage of the word amalgamation through long years have been to describe the fusion of certain metals, and by extension to denote the fusing of races of men. Wait, what? Did y'all catch that?
To denote the fusing of races of men. This is not correct. Like, we just look at the definition of amalgamation. It's not the fusing of, because fusing of, I don't know what in the word they were thinking about when they say that. Where did this come from? The white estate, have mercy. We have people in there that have no idea what they're talking about. You believe that? How in the world does someone say something like that? I mean, they read, he just gave us the definition of the dictionary gave us, and then he says this, the fusion of races of man. Now, how would the races of man fuse if it's not by intercourse? Obviously, when it says man, it means a man and a woman, right? Man, the race of man means that the human race. That's what it means, right? The races of man, but it says races, see, which means there's more than one. Now, this is not Ellen G. White. We want to make this clear. This is not Ellen G. White speaking. This is someone in a white state. This is what happened when you try to defend, change what we actually believe. This is what happened. See, they're trying to say, okay, we can try to change what amalgamation mean. Amalgamation mean the fusion in between. How in the world? Race is a man. So now we have more than one race. See? What is that? That's exactly what Myles and them saying. They come here and try to explain what amalgamation means, and then they agree with what these three men are saying. Is race betas. Exactly what they're saying. They're saying the fusion in between. They even highlighted it. I'm pretty sure he can get to that in this minute. Say, hey, that's exactly what we're saying. The fusion between races of man. How would you fuse races of man? So now we have more than one race. So now they're going into the sub races, right? So you have white, you have black, you have Chinese, you have Indian, you have who knows what else. You have all kind of races now. So how would you fuse them? If the only way to fuse them is for them to have intercourse, right? Because that's what fuse means. You're just uniting. But you're not uniting two different things. You're uniting two same things. Because when you say fusion, that's just unite. It's two things coming together. That's what it means. That is not amalgamation. Fusion is not amalgamation. Because amalgamation is the fusion between two different things. Some two things that does not or should not come together naturally. A man and a woman, whether he's black or a woman, would come together naturally. That's not amalgamation. People trying to defend Ellen G. White and don't even know what she's saying. This is what gives people, put a sword in people's hand like this to chop us down.
In the mid-19th century, the word was commonly employed in the United States to describe the intermarriage of the white and the Negro race.
Now they're going to get, okay, see, we know what the word means, but in the 19th century, they were saying things like this. Abraham Lincoln, all them people were saying things like this is the way they would speak. So we're going to hold Ellen White to that too. Yeah, because she couldn't use the word the way it's in the dictionary. No, if she used the word, yeah, she used it exactly the way the racists would use it. If she used the word, that's exactly the way she would use it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The crux of the amalgamation passages is this: amalgamation of man and beast. That statement could be construed to mean the amalgamation of man with beast, or...
No, listen. You see what that said? She didn't say with beast. She said man and beast. See? When you said amalgamation with beast, now that sounds like man was doing something. He was having intercourse with beast. That's what it sounds like. See, anytime you change what she wrote, this is the result. And people like these race baiters will hold on to that, and they have something to grab onto. Because now, you see, this is who's saying this. This is white estate is still speaking. See what the white estate says here? Because you see, it started to get nonsensical. Because you're trying to do a separation there, and they say, no, you're digging yourself into a deeper hole. That's what's happening.
Or amalgamation of man and of beast. In a construction like this, the preposition of is not necessarily repeated, though it may be clearly implied. Just real quick. How can
May be clearly implied. So they'll know they're implying things that she didn't say. And notice how he done smiling like, yeah, he just said it. Yeah, we can tear it apart now. And how we can defend something like that? This is what happened when you try to play around. If she said something, say what she say. Don't say, okay, she didn't mean that. This could be implied this way. No. What she said, exactly what she meant to say. And don't change it. You change it, this is when this type of things start to happen.
something might be clearly implied?
Yes, oxymoronic.
It's ridiculous. Okay, and if you notice, they're destroying themselves here. Okay, we might speak of the scattering of man and beast over the earth, but
this is the white estate that's doing this. Now then, you're going to make it clear. This is not Ellen White. This is the white estate that's doing it. People that's supposed to be defending what she said is trying to change what she said, and in doing it, then it gives them something to talk about. See? Now they have to say, oh, this is the hole that they want. Oh yeah, you see what they said? We're gonna hold her to this too, because they're the white estate, right? They know what she believed. Never mind, she said what she said. No, but no, we're gonna listen to what these people saying that she meant.
But we do not therefore mean that previously man and beast were fused in one mass at one geographical spot. We simply
What? Let me get that now. Let me read that again. It says, but we do not therefore mean that previously man and beast were fused in one mass at one geographical spot. My goodness.
Man and beast were fused in one mass at one geographical spot. We simply mean that the scattering of man over the earth and the scattering of beasts over the earth, though the original locations of the two groups might have been on opposite sides of the earth. In other words,
have mercy.
The scattering of man and beast. This is what.
Listen to how far that has gone. This is the white estate that did this. It's the white estate that did this. Why? Because they wouldn't man up to what she said. Look at how they have a field day with this. Like, yeah, you see what they said there? It makes no sense. And that's exactly right. It makes no sense. None whatsoever.
They want you to believe that amalgamation means. So animals are over here someplace. Human beings are over here someplace. So they're amalgamating by being scattered and then coming together.
Isn't it that? Right. They understood what was just said. And they're laughing at us. It's a white estate that did this. Why would we do something like that? Why? Why would we say such stupidity like that? Why? Because we have people in the church that shouldn't be there. They get there and they're speaking all this nonsense and changing what was clearly stated. But you see, they are being pressured by race baiters like this. Oh my goodness! Oh, that sounds bad. So we can't really say what she actually said, what she actually meant. That doesn't sound right. You know, people could take that. Who cares how people take the thing? Say what was said. Pull out your gun, stick by them. This kind of thing turns your back to your enemy, and then they pull out a knife and stick it in you.
Really?
How does that mar the image of God?
You know,
how is that a base crime of all crimes that warrants total annihilation?
Well, let me explain to you how it mars the image of God. when a man takes something from a man and put it in an animal, you make some kind of weird stuff. And if you take something from another animal and put it inside of another animal, and that thing have a child, it makes some type of weird stuff. It's an amalgamation. When you take something from an animal and put it into a baby, you change the baby at its the point of development. This thing that's going to be born is not a human being, but it is a man because it came from a woman. The reason why it's a man because where does man come from? Man comes from woman. And if a woman has a child that has been manipulated with something from an animal, this is a man, but it's a different race of man. It's an amalgamation. Amalgamation makes different races, different species. That's what it does. You get two metal and you unite them together. You mix them together. You make something else. Right? That's what you do. You make some other type of metal. That's what you do when you do that. Amalgamation is when the offspring is going to be something that, I don't know if the offspring would be, well, I guess you probably can call it offspring if it's coming from a woman. But it's not coming from a man. Right? It's something that is coming from a woman, makes it a man, and this thing is not something that God created. God's image is not in that. God doesn't look like that, and God most likely will not act like that. That's what Ellen G. White was saying.
Even if it's racism, then how does a white man marrying a black woman become such a base crime, a heinous act? That warrants their total annihilation. Again, it still does not compute.
You listen to these people, you say, well, how in the world can these people, I don't know, their level of education. I'm pretty sure that CMB, he went to Adventist University, it sounds like. These people isn't dumb people. And I would even wager to think that these people aren't bad people either. These people are just confused. They have raised up all their life with slavery and racism hanging over their head at every turn. And it's there because their parents put it there. Their friends put it there. You ask them, okay, when was the last time someone was racist against you? Oh yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah, when was the last time? Oh yeah, it was just the other day. Yeah, what happened? Yeah, yeah, it's all over the place. I mean, I can't go out of my house without some type of racism. Yeah, yeah. Give me an example. Exactly when was someone racist against you? What did they do to you? Well, they really didn't do anything to me, but exactly what did they do? It was the other day I went down the street and this walking on the street minding my own, and this woman looked at me. Yeah, that was racism right there. Huh? They don't even know what racism is. But they're living with it day in and day out. Everything that they see, everything that happened to them, it happened to them because of racism. The white man is keeping them down. Because they're below the white man. That's their mentality. And they can't get out of there. And their children, they're going to teach them the same thing. They keep it alive. It keeps it alive. Racism will never die with these people. They make sure of it.
It is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And by the way, EJ, they're saying that you can't hear. Oh, you brought the mic up? Okay. But yeah, this is it doesn't make any sense, this defense. Okay, this is an EGW estate, by the way. So kind of, if you know. The EGW estate wants you to believe that the term amalgamation was not used to denote sexual union between man and beast. That's what they said, right? but it did refer to the fusion of metals. Is fusion pushing apart or coming together? Anybody help me out?
Coming
Fusion.
together.
Including intermarriages of the white and the Negro race. Listen to what you see. Look at the word fusion. This is the word that the white estate they introduce into the conversation. Now they're gonna pick that apart. See, they can't do anything with amalgamation because that's pretty clear what it is. See, amalgamation was not used to denote sexual union between man and beast. Right? It was not used that way. And that's the way that these race baiters, are using it. Because they're race baiters and they need the white man to do something to the black woman. They desperately need that. They gotta find it somehow. Basically, they can't use amalgamation. But a new word was introduced into the conversation. Fusion. But it did refer to fusion of metals and races of man. So now you're fusing metals and you're fusing man. Now you see, when you fuse metal, you have two metals, right? One is metal, the other is metal. Notice. See, you have two metals. One is metal on the right and one is metal on the left. There are two different type of metals. You don't fuse the same type of metals. At least that's not amalgamation. But when you get to race now, here you having sub races, because remember it had to be sub races, not race. It's races, which means there's more than one. So it's sub races. You have race, which is at the top. Then inside race, because race would be human race, right? That would be the top race. Then you have sub races, which we have invented, which is white, black, Indian, Chinese, and whatever else that's out there. Like, this is a different type of races now. Now, how would you fuse these? Because race is a construct, it's a mental construct. That's what it is. That we have invented. You see, if you get iron and you get brass, we just think about it. If you have a metal iron and you have a brass iron, and you want to fuse these two, that's an amalgamation. That's what that's called, right? This metal, this iron, is a lot stronger than this metal that is brass. Isn't that right? It's a lot stronger. It's a totally different type of metal. The thing that you would use iron to do, you would not use brass to do, because brass is a lot softer, right? There's two separate type of iron. Two totally separate type of iron. Now let's go over to race. Let's say you have a white person and you have a black person. What is the difference between the two? What is so different between the white and the black? Because you have to think about this in difference now, right? What is so different between the white man and the black man? The white woman and the black woman. What can the white woman do that the black woman can't do? What can the white man do that the black man can't do? Where is the difference between the two? So you start to see that they're the same, right? Because the color doesn't determine much. It's only in your mind, in these race betas' mind, that the color determines so much. They can't get past it. Because they're the one that had the problem with their color. Not the white man. They're the one that had the great majority of their problem. They have a really big problem with their color. They can't get past it. Everything is against them. Yeah. That's the race betas for you. So now we introduce fusion into the mix. Now, when you say fusion, you see, a white man and a black woman can come together and they make a baby. That's fusion, right? Is it amalgamation? No, but it is fusion. And when they put fusion into the mix, they say, okay, now we can really stick it to these people, these crazy Adventists. See what they said? It's fusion. So that's what they meant by amalgamation. That's right. You watch and see how they're strict. They're trying to give the fusion the amalgamation term. Yeah, because we did it. That's what the white state did. Then they're going to actually see what they say there. Fusion of metal and races of men, including intermarriage of the white and the Negro. There you go. And that would be correct if you use the word fusion. We shot ourselves in the foot there. I wouldn't say we, because I wouldn't have anything to do with that. I don't agree with it either. But it's the Adventists that's doing this. Trying to defend Adventism, changing what was said. And this is the result. Yeah.
Of course, fusion of metals and races of men, including intermarriage. Hello. So if there's intermarriage, you think a man and wife, if they're married, might have sex every now and again? I don't know.
It's a standard kind of thought.
See, they understand what fusion is. It's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. How did this happen? Because the Adventist church, well, I wouldn't say the Adventist church, the white state, well, I guess, who knows, right? These days, who knows what's going on up there. But the white state actually say that, it's fusion. It's not amalgamation. Or better say, fusion is amalgamation. See how that was changed? And these people, they're smart enough to say, I know what fusion is. If you have a black man and a black woman, but when they come together, that is fusion. That is exactly what fusion is. They can't do it with amalgamation, but they can definitely do it with fusion. And now they're going to hold you to that. These people are just horrible.
I don't know. Or maybe you have to save yourself because of the the of animal passions and such. With the
But didn't they just say that no?
Yeah.
Didn't they just say that no dictionary ever used this word in that way?
See, he didn't miss a thing. Guy doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't miss a beat, huh? He says, yeah, you heard what they just said, right?
That's what they said. The same quote.
It didn't get past
Like
him.
let's go back. So this is the thing. The white state there.
Let's revisit it.
Legacy issues / amalgamation. Just put amalgamation in there, and you can find it for yourself. It's crazy. Okay, we mean the scattering of man. No, oh gosh, is scattering even a viable option for the use of the term fusion?
That's like the exact opposite of what fusion is.
Thank
Fusion
you.
is not a scattering.
Good lord! And for those in the back that aren't catching what we're going.
Notice what they're doing. They're going to bring out the word fusion. No, they shouldn't bring out the word amalgamation. Well, I already did that, so it doesn't matter. They're going to bring out the word fusion and say, oh, yeah, see what they're saying fusion is? Fusion is what they're saying it is. Yeah. Of course, they are all referring to amalgamation when they're giving this word fusion. Because the white state already introduced this word. No, it's fusion. So, yeah, but we know what fusion is. Fusion isn't what you're saying it is.
Going on. Let's go to a dictionary, okay? Fusion. Okay? The process or result of joining two or more things to form a single entity.
You see? Look at that. Look how close that definition is to amalgamation. What's the difference? You see, it's not joining two different things. That's the difference. This is what the white state did. Instead of them reading the text, understanding what the text is saying, I'll be thinking about how in the world can I come up with this thing, and they can't. How in the world I can get to these conclusions, the church just can't see it? I'll tell you why. because of the Trinity. That's why. They will never be able to have any truth because of this nonsense that they believe. That's why. The Trinity is the crux of the matter. And the Trinity is what makes them Christian. And anyone that's not a Trinity is automatically not Christian. That's right. That's what unites all of them. You see, look at all three of them. All three of them probably from different denominations. And they come together under one banner. You want to know what that banner is? Trinity. That's what it is. As long as all three of them believe in the Trinity, they have no quarrels with each other. No matter how far their doctrine differ from each other. There's one that unites them. And they all believe that blasphemy.
Oh, and look. It says amalgamation for people that can't read the small print. Okay?
Notice it says similar. It says amalgamation for people that can't read the small print. Yeah, that's what it says. That mean amalgamation. No. It says it's similar to amalgamation. That's what it says. Notice what it says right there. It says similar. Similar. Oh. Yeah, they're trying to get one over on you.
Fusion is the result of joining two or more things to form a single entity, also known as amalgamation. Dummy. Okay? So stop with the nonsense.
How did they do that? Because the Seventh-day Adventist Church, the white state, put fusion in there. That's how they're able to do that. See, they're gonna get and bash you over the head with it. Bam, bam, but you don't understand. Bam, 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 bam. It's the same thing. She didn't say fusion. See, that's the difference between a prophet and people like you. She thought about the words that she was using. Now, if you want to use the words, or anyone else, including the white state, they want to use the words as something else, that's their problem. Not her problem. She can only write it, right? She can only use the words, but she definitely used the correct words. That's the point. If she wanted to say fusion, she would have said fusion. She didn't say fusion. She said amalgamation. Even though the words are similar and not the same.
Again, the EGW estate wants you to believe that the term amalgamation was not used to denote sexual union between a man and beast, but it did refer to the fusion of metals and races of men, including intermarriage. Make it make sense, please.
I can't. I can't. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you guys in this one. Ain't making no sense. Ain't making no sense. On the work of that. Well, I have to agree with you here.
It doesn't say what you're claiming it says, even though it does say what you're claiming it says.
Glad to clear that up. Right?
Yeah, it feels so wrong to have to agree with them. You know, but I mean, it is correct. And then one, oh man, oh goodness, have mercy. Let's continue.
So this is absolutely not. This is what your church is telling you. Okay, like okay, fact. There's no definition of amalgamation.
These are those points where you just have to take it. How to take it. Take the slam over the head. What can you do? You can't you don't believe that, but you can't disagree that that's what the church said. Not what she said, and they're not saying that she said that. They're saying that the church said that. How can you disagree? Yeah, that's exactly what they said. They're trying to change what the prophet wrote, and they think that they're doing her a favor. I think they're doing God a favor. No, this is the kind of thing that happened from that. Anyone with common sense, a little bit of brain power would be able to take this apart. You're all crazy.
On the planet that denotes scattering.
And that's exactly right.
There's none. It doesn't exist.
Like, give me a break, man. This should show people how desperate of an attempt and a defense this is. Like, come on, man.
I agree.
It's terrible.
Very
Okay.
desperate.
All right. Got to move on a little bit. Okay. So Ellen White's contemporaries disagree with the current defense proposed by the White estate. Okay. And some folks in her day had questions about the validity of her statement.
You see, of course. Anybody with common sense would agree with that. You see, we do not follow stupidity. You see, Adventist people think for themselves. I mean, y'all don't do that, but most Adventist people think, well, real Adventist people would think for themselves. They wouldn't let the White Estate, they wouldn't let the General Conference or anyone else tell us what the Spirit of Prophecy says. We can read that thing for ourselves. I disagree with what they say. Just like how you disagree with what they say. Because you know it doesn't make sense. And I know it doesn't make sense. And anyone else that read it knows it doesn't make sense. And it's not true. And it's indefensible. That's why we have a problem. You can't defend a lie.
Statements as well. Her day, her contemporaries. Okay. So Spirit of Prophecy. Okay. This is G.V. Kilgore, and he writes in the Review and Herald on November 28th, 1878. Spirit of Prophecy, Volume 1, page 78, that's the quote we just read, was referred to and ridiculed by a Baptist minister. He said that what Sister White said about amalgamation of man and beast was utterly impossible. Wait a second. What was the standard defense from the Ellen White estate here? That it just meant fusion, right?
Notice how they're referring to the White estate, what the White estate said. See, they have something to grab onto, and they're going to use it. Oh, yeah, they hold her to it.
Intermarry.
Yeah, which is a scattering.
Right. So you can't intermarry or scatter or fuse. Just so we're clear, keeping up. Okay, so I referred him. This is Kilgore talking. I referred him to Johnson's New Cyclopedia, pages 1040 to 1040 and 1042, that he might learn for the first time, because you don't understand Mrs. White. Yeah, you might learn for the first time, if he never knew it before, that quote, allied species are capable, as a rule, of pairing and producing offspring. End quote. Myles, how do you produce offspring? Keep it PG.
Again, I am.
There you go. See, this is all hinging on what the White estate said. What the White estate said that she meant is where it's all hinging. That's what you get when you meddle with the Word of God. See, that's what you get.
One of these mixed race amalgamated species, so maybe my thinking faculties are not the strongest, but I believe after having a son myself, it's through intercourse.
Yep.
That's
cohesion.
There you go. Okay. Offspring. And that under the influence of man, mongrel races. Hello. Pay attention. Mongrel races readily arise and are indefinitely sustained. What? Just exactly what Sister White says.
That's not what she said. Now notice how they're trying to link what she said with what the White estate saying. They've been beating on the White estate now for a while. Now they say, okay, now let's try to link them. This is what she said. This is what they said that she said. They're not saying this is what they said that she said. This is what she said now. Look, notice how they're trying to link the prophet of the Lord with what the White estate said. These people doesn't have any shame. Not any conscience either. None at all. She definitely did not say that.
So, my friends, we have to ask, was Sister White referring to pairing and producing offspring? Kilgore thinks that.
Yeah, he thinks that, so therefore she had to think it, right? Kilgore said that. Oh, have mercy. Yeah, it's as clear as day.
And he wasn't alone. Yeah.
No, he was not.
He wasn't alone. Other people was thinking the same thing.
You have to understand, for almost 90 years, 83 years to be exact, this was the standard understanding and defense of all Adventists. In fact, when it was first proposed, April 1931, by George McCready Price, that they shift the wording by adding the additional of, so as to not make it look like she was actually saying man and animals interbreeding. It caused a massive controversy in the Adventist church that D.E. Robinson, he was Ellen White's personal secretary for years. He stepped up and immediately shut the argument down. He refuted McCready Price's article and said it did violence to what Ellen White meant, because he personally knew what Ellen White meant being her secretary, and he went through Ellen White's literature, which he had to say on the issue, and proved that she did mean amalgamation of man and beast to refer to humans interbreeding with animals.
Mm-hmm.
And brothers and sisters, for the next 16 years until 1947, when the issue blew up again, no one dared try to respond to and refute D.E. Robinson. He settled the issue. The entire Adventist church was settled on the matter when he refuted this first reinterpretation of man and of beast, to make it seem like of man refers to different types of humans and of beast refers to different types of beasts. He refuted that. But then it had to come back because they were going to lose credibility in 1947 if they did not embrace the of man and of beast, which has become the standard SDA interpretation and argumentation today. And we'll see why that is. Continue, sir.
CMB, really quick, to support what EJ just said, I'd like to share a quote from a primary source.
Yeah, not that make any sense. See, we knew what Ellen G. White meant. In the past, we did know. It's just now, this race business, everybody's be calling everybody racist. Everybody like, this is a serious problem. I mean, companies as well. They run between their tail between their legs. They'll be very, very careful how they tread. This race business can ruin people. But we, as a church, we don't care about none of that. We're supposed to speak the truth. Let the chips fall where they may. Right? Especially when you come to things that needs to be said. Now, this idea about the black people, Ellen G. White in her days, when she said that they should marry each other, was that common sense or wasn't that common sense? There comes a time where you say, wait a minute, this isn't going to bring any good, only evil. This is the truth. The truth is that man and woman are equal. Black and whites are equal. That's the truth. But because that is the truth, do that give me the right to say, okay, now I'm going to just tell them that they can go in and get them all killed because it's the truth. I'm good. No, brothers and sisters. You're responsible for the words that comes out of your mouth. Responsible for those words. Bible tells you that. Bible says something like this. It says if you lend someone some money, that's what the Bible says. You lend someone some money, and that person promised to pay you the money. And for some reason, the person can't pay you the money. Like he went and bought a shirt, clothing. And this clothing, by right, belongs to you until he pays you the money that he borrowed. The Bible says you can go and take the clothing from your brother. Because it's your clothing, right? That's your money. But the Bible also said, why should you do that? Because listen to what it says, if you take that from him, he has nothing to wear. And if he cry unto me, then it will be sin to you. Now listen to this. It's your money and you have the right to take it. But that doesn't mean that you should do it. Right? The Bible says, if he cry because he's out there in the cold, he cry unto me, it will be sin to you. If he do it, if he doesn't do it, will it be sin? No. Wouldn't be sin. But if he decided to cry and he bring that to the Lord and all sin, yeah, now it is sin to you. That's what the Bible thinks. What do you think about that? You see, we're supposed to use common sense. That's why God gave it to us. Not just because you can do something, you should do it. Not just because you can say something, you should say it. You have a responsibility. And you better use your common sense. Because God will hold it against you.